Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Cafe. I'm Nemo, and today we're going to be going over your guys' Spider-Man hot takes. This is going to be part 2 to the series. I am so sorry that it took forever for it to come out, but let's get started. Alright, the first take of the day. The Connie Stan says, Yuri Lowenthal's performance as Spider-Man is generic and unmemorable. He plays the character too much like an anime protagonist, which isn't surprising, considering he is an anime voice actor. Now, I really enjoy Yuri Lowenthal as a voice actor, and I think he is a pretty good Spider-Man. I really like the way he voices him in Rivals.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
And, of course, he was amazing in the first Insomniac Spider-Man game. He just gave such an incredible and heartfelt performance, and he truly cemented himself as one of the definitive voices for the character.
You are everything I wanted to be! You just threw it away!
However, I really don't like the way he voices him in Spider-Man 2. There is some kind of quality drop-off. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. He's screaming a lot. His jokes aren't funny. I mean, the first Spider-Man game is the only one that really had quips and jokes that, made me chuckle, so.
Yay, new guys! I'm sure you'll do way better than these guys just like you who I wiped the floor with!
But the second game, it just, I don't know. There's something about it that's not right, and I especially hate the way that he voices young Peter in, all those flashback scenes.
Hey! Halfway! No, sorry, excuse me, scooting by!
I know he's an adult and he's used to playing adult Spider-Man, but come on. Is that the best we can do? I'm not trying to hate on the guy or hate on his performance because this guy truly was a huge part of my childhood, okay? I was absolutely addicted to Ben 10 for a very long time, so I absolutely adore this guy. I just thought that Spider-Man 2, it wasn't as good as it could have been in the performance department. Alright, next up we got Ram496, and he says, Alex Ross needs to do more Spidey and more Marvel overall. Now, I really like Alex Ross, and for those of you who don't know him, he is a very talented comic book artist. He, has drawn for stories like Kingdom Come and Justice, but, the thing is, I don't really like his artwork for interiors. I prefer him to just stick to covers because his style is beautiful, but I feel like it's too realistic, and, all of his artwork is just very lifelike. All of the characters that he draws look like statues, but it's not really good when it comes to displaying motion, all of the scenes for the panels that he draws, they look frozen in time, and they're not very dynamic, and so it's kind of hard to get immersed into the story when every single panel just looks like a painting that you'd see in a museum, It doesn't feel like there's any action going on. I don't know if that makes sense, but I really do love his artwork, and I do wish he'd draw Spider-Man more. Alright, next up, the TASM 2 Rhino suit is a great design, way better than Insomniac's. TASM 2's Green Goblin has a better design than Dafoe's suit as well, and Sony's Venom has a better design than Insomniac's. I don't think I agree with a single one of these. These are hot takes. Okay, first off, I think that the whole point of Rhino's suit is that he's stuck in it, And that was a plot point in the Insomniac game. Rhino was working for Octavius because Octavius promised him a way out of the suit after everything was done.
Otto developed a corrosive to free Rhino from his suit. A certain government agency spent years trying and failing to do that. It only took Otto a few days.
And the TASM 2 Rhino suit is just a dude in a tank, And I don't even think that tank looks, particularly good. It looks pretty ugly, I don't even think you could tell that it was a rhino until he shouts, I am the rhino! It was so stupid. I think they put that line in because everyone would be looking at the suit and be like, what? Who the hell is that? It just doesn't work. It looks so bad. Now, I am a huge fan of the classic Silver Age Green Goblin design with the purple and the green, so, I can't come out here and defend Dafoe's design too much because he does kind of look like a Power Rangers villain. However, he is miles better than TASM 2's Goblin, okay? His design was just so grotesque and ugly for no reason, It didn't look good. There was nothing iconic about it. If you close your eyes right now, close your eyes right now. We're gonna do a little exercise here. Picture William Dafoe's Green Goblin in your head. You can clearly visualize what his mask looks like, the eyes, the mouth opening, the color. Can you really do that with Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin? No, maybe you can picture some of what his, disgusting face looks like. But no, there's nothing iconic about it. It's just ugly. Now, I can kind of see where you're coming from with the Sony versus Insomniac Venom thing. Like, characterization-wise, they're both horrible. You know, both versions ignore numerous aspects of the character that are very important. But design-wise, I do prefer a more slim-looking Venom, a more realistic build. I mean, you know, Sony's Venom is still, you know, very big and imposing, but he's not the size of the Hulk, you know, like the Insomniac Venom. That's a little much. But also, the Sony Venom has, like, veins on him, and it just looks gross, and I don't think it's a good substitute for the spider logo. You know, I don't like either of them, you know? I think they're both not really good designs. Alright, next up, my take is not so much on Peter, and it's not that hot of a take, but Miles needs more original villains, his own rogues gallery. Now, I agree with this 100%. I wish that this were the case. But I just don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon, and that's because it's really difficult to make new villains stick. I mean, let's take Batman for example. I think the only new villain that has really stuck in like the last 2 decades is the Court of Owls. Maybe I'm wrong, I just can't really think of any other examples. I mean, like, you have Punchline and Ghostmaker, but does the general audience really know about that? Are they going to show up in a movie? No. The Court of Owls? Probably. So, you know, it's just really hard to make a good villain nowadays because pretty much all the ideas have been used up, you know, and every time you make a new villain, they kind of feel like a rehash of another villain, and it's just kind of messy. So I do wish that Miles could have some more original villains, but I don't really see it happening anytime soon. Alright, Taylor Hayes says, hot take, the Web of Shadows black suit, purple, is the best symbiote suit and looks way better than a traditional all-black symbiote suit. I don't think I can agree with this. I've never really been a fan of the purple for the black suit. You know, I understand that you gotta pick another color for the, you know, the highlights and the shading and, you know, certain mediums, but I don't know, I just don't really like it that much. As much as I love the Ultimate Universe in that original Spider-Man run, I don't know, I really prefer blue as the secondary color, or just all black, you know? I don't think there's really a problem with having the symbiote suit look all black. You know, I feel like that's the most badass way for it to look. Alright, next up, OK Dion says, another hot take is that I hate the whole weird change of the symbiote making Peter violent. The symbiote was genuinely trying to help Peter, it's Eddie that's the villain. The symbiote should always just be a suit that gives Peter infinite webbing and fights villains when he's asleep. Now, like, I agree with like 90% of this, okay? I don't think that is just Eddie that's the villain. I do think that the symbiote and Eddie combine their, you know, their pooled hatred for Peter, and that's what makes them so successful as a villain.
We're Venom!
However, I do really like it when the symbiote and Peter kind of have a dynamic that feels like a tragic love story. I really like it when the symbiote genuinely bonds to Peter. You know, it's trying to help Peter become a better Spider-Man, make him stronger, give him the infinite webbing, you know, the shape-shifting, the clothes, all that. And then, you know, the symbiote eventually takes it a step further and takes over his body while Peter's sleeping and starts fighting crime. And Peter is super freaked out by this, so he goes to Reed Richards or he goes to the church bell, whatever, and he gets rid of the suit. Now, the suit feels rejected. It's heartbroken, you know? It's not that the suit was making him violent and he had to get rid of it because he was gonna, you know, hurt someone. It was that Peter didn't understand what the symbiote really was, and the symbiote felt rejected, you know? And that is what caused the symbiote to move on to Eddie Brock, and then they combined their heartbreak and hatred and all these negative emotions, and that is what made Venom so strong. I mean, I really don't like it when the symbiote is just an evil alien that's hell-bent on destroying all of mankind for no reason. Like, that's why Spider-Man 2's Venom is complete garbage. I mean, look at this panel right here. But then came my second memory, a memory of another war, another soldier. I touched a mind after so long in darkness, and such a mind. Compassion that shone like sunlight, responsibility that stood like stone, a gnawing guilt that demanded all lives be saved. I did not yet know what a saint was, yet surely this was a saint. Saint Peter. Not bad, he said. I was not bad. I would have done anything for him. So I did everything for him. I took on his war, his mission. Even while he slept, I piloted his body to better protect his kind. I wanted to be with him forever. And in the place of saints, he tried to destroy me. He said he would rather die than bond with me. Yet, I still saved his life, even after that. I still wore his symbol. I still fought his war. The war against death itself. Now I am hiding here, in Peter's closet, the place I once felt useful, wanted, safe. Like, this is way more interesting. The symbiote loved Peter and loved being with him. Like, they were really a good team, and Peter rejected the symbiote just because he didn't fully understand what it was, and he was scared of it. That's just the way I like it, but, you know, if you disagree, whatever. Alright, next up, Carl says, I like the Spider-Totem stuff. I think it was an interesting addition to the Spider-Man mythos. Now, I understand why people would like this, you know, it feels fresh and new, it's something different. However, I think that it really takes away from the everyman aspect of Peter Parker's character, and, you know, I think Peter as a character should feel special, like he's unique, but, you know, he's not chosen by God to be Spider-Man, you know? That's just me. Moving on. Alright, next up, Animatrix206 says, they have to start a new universe in the comics without tying it to the old universe or a cosmic event, and finish 616 without being destroyed. Yeah, I would really like Marvel to do some kind of reboot, and I mean, I like the Ultimate Universe, but that's not really a typical reboot. You know, we need something more along the lines of the, you know, Ultimate Universe from the 2000s. Maybe a little less extreme when it comes to the Avengers. But anyway, you know, we need a nice, fresh start for Spider-Man when it comes to the continuity. And when I say that, I do not mean put him back in high school, put him back in Aunt May's house, okay? I would like for us to jump into this new universe, you know, with Peter in college. You know, he's already established, and, you know, you can just build the lore of the universe out from there. You know, you can do flashback stories, you know, to his time in high school, whatever. But I really think that this is something that Marvel needs to do, kind of like a New 52 or a Rebirth, you know, like with DC. I would love to see this. Shaw Call says, Cape and Cowl Cafe has a very nice ring to it. Thank you very much. Alright, next up, Genesis Multiverse 4896 says, Peter should have been kept as a science teacher. I mean, he is a scientist and a science major. I 100% agree with this. I don't know why they stopped, you know, having him as a teacher. I just think it makes the most sense. It's just the perfect inversion of the dynamic that he had in high school, you know? He's skipping class to go fight crime, and now he would just be doing it as a teacher. I think it makes sense, you know? And for those of you who are gonna be like, oh, well, he would just get fired, you know, for skipping class. You know, they showed that in the beginning of Spider-Man 2, but the suspension of disbelief is a thing, and we can use it, you know? Because you could also say, oh, why didn't Peter Parker get expelled in high school? He skipped class like 182 times to go fight crime as Spider-Man. Like, you could just flip the argument around, so I don't really think it matters. This is a fictional universe. I think we should make Peter Parker a teacher again. Plus, there are so many opportunities for amazing character moments, especially with, you know, him interacting with the students and other teachers. I just think it makes sense. Alright guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, and drop in the comments down below your Spider-Man hot takes. They might be featured in a part 3. I really appreciate the support you guys have been giving me, but honestly, a lot of you guys aren't subscribed. And guess what? I can see the numbers. I got them right here. 81% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, but are regular viewers. So I see you guys lurking there, you know? You think you're sneaky, but you're not. I see you. So just hit that button, you know? It takes like 2 seconds. Actually, probably less. You've probably already done it by now. Thank you. I appreciate it. But anyways, until next time, I'll see you guys later.